I'm going to start. I think many people in the sports industry will be aware of your story, but I'm sure there are many who are not. Can you take us back to how it all started for you, the Two Circles journey, how you got together with the founding team, and where you were before that journey started?
Amazing. I'd love to. David, thank you for having me. And I love all the work that iSportConnect do in the industry. So it's a pleasure to be on. The start of the journey, if I think about the start of my journey, I think about the start of my sporting journey, because that this is a passion project. We work in a passion industry. So for me, when I was first inspired by sport is as much as when I was first inspired to start thinking about what Two Circles became, because we love what we do at Two Circles and we love sports. So like when I first fell in love with football or soccer, wherever you are listening to this from the world, and first learned that I was all right at running, those things were like really foundational moments where I think I started training and practicing to become the sports marketer that I am today. So my journey started really young. That was when I was 7 or 8, and Gary Lineker still played for Tottenham Hotspur, and the world was very much before the internet. To fast forward a bit though to maybe where your question was at, I had a professional running career, which was incredible for me, and an amazing education in life and being the best you can be, which is something we really obsess about here at Two Circles. And when I finished that, I decided I was going to work in sport for the rest of my life, because that would be the best source of happiness. And stumbled my way into opportunity at Manchester City Football Club, which was an amazing time to be there. Shortly after the current owners came in, who have done the most amazing job, not just in transforming the business on the pitch, but off the pitch equally, and indeed just in society. I think they've done such an amazing job. It's arguably the case study of the century in terms of transformation of a sports property, and that was amazing. And somewhere in there was the spark to say, hey, look, the world's going to be data driven. The sports business needs to become digitally native. And it was obvious to us that other football clubs weren't there, and frankly, other service providers weren't providing what they needed. And me and the founding team, me and Matt Rogan, got together at that point, and Two Circles was born.
Amazing. And you, ever since you've been on an exponential sort of growth curve. Can you tell me about the sort of early years of building a team and what you've learned along the way? Maybe you can comment on the size of Two Circles now. I mean, I think you're taking over the world. So where are you now? I've lost count.
Yeah, definitely. We're definitely not trying to take over the world. We're trying to make the world better through sports, which might mean that it looks, I don't know, if it looks like we are from outside, that's not the intent. But no, today we're 441 team members small.
Yep.
That's up from 0 when we started, obviously, and it's been an exponential journey. Like I say, it's 11 years of consistent growth in our business, in the clients we work with, the number of clients who renew with us, the number of clients who get more to us, the number of people that we hire, the number of people we promote, the number of people that we enable to do bigger jobs than they've done before. They're all the metrics we care about here, and those metrics are all up year on year. So yeah, that's the kind of context of 11 years of journey, and most of that growth has been organic as well, with a couple of acquisitions along the way. And the team in the early years, that was very flat. We had an incredibly flat organization structure. We did all the jobs that you'd imagine an entrepreneur or a founder does at that point, from making the tea to finding the office to sorting out the legal entity to implementing, leading data protection policies, even way before GDPR was even a thing, as well as winning clients, servicing work, and some of the finer things like playing sport together, which is all part of the job at that point. So we had a very flat structure. We brought in a couple of people, and I'm chuffed that many of those people are still with us today as shareholders and key members of the journey we've been on. And we kept a really flat structure for a number of years. Actually, it was only 5 years. We were 5 years young when we first created a management team at Two Circles. We try to avoid that for as long as we can to create a really team-focused environment where everyone contributed to the success of the business.
And what lessons have you learned along the way in terms of building teams? Because you as you said, you have several hundred people in the business now.
Yeah.
Some of them have stayed with you. I guess along the way you've learned a lot of lessons. Can you share a few of those with us?
Sure. My background in high performance sport is like really integral to this, in that we've tried to create a high performance culture that resembles something that a great sports team would encourage. So there's some obvious cliche things to say, like there's no I in team. You're only as good as your next game. Everyone should be clear about their role to achieving the mission, and the mission should be co-created. These are all things that we live and die by every day. Everyone, we will only put as much into someone's performance as they're prepared to put into themselves, but we guarantee we will at least match whatever someone else is prepared to put into their own performance through a learning development program that's pretty intensive. And we don't have a business development team here at Two Circles. We invest every penny that others invest in business development. We invest in learning and development, and that's a key point of difference around how our people grow. So there's lots of facets there that I think you'll find in high performance sport that we've brought into the workplace and made normal. Goal setting and accountability against their goals are all part of the everyday life here at Two Circles, and the things that we built into the foundation of the business right out the gates. We were really obsessed about building a business, one that we loved, and two, that was really high performing. Those two things are a little bit synonymous with each other in our world, and we did that right out the gate. So what we've learned along the way is that through scale you can retain spirit. Everyone said to us, as you get bigger, it won't feel as fun. It's more fun than ever. It's different types of fun, but I generally am having more fun than you've ever had. And if you care about your team and you care about being better than you were yesterday, then actually scale creates an opportunity to enhance your spirit. Because I love the fact I can say to every Two Circler that I can deliver against all their career ambitions if they're passionate about sports and passionate about making the world a better place through sports. Then we can deliver against their career ambitions, and that's quite a promise to make, and one that scale is intrinsically linked to enabling. So we created a really great sports team here at Two Circles, one that I hope feels like the best sports team anyone's ever been part of when they're on this team.
I love the analogy with high performance, but that's an interesting comment on maintaining that or growing that spirit as you scale. I guess a lot of founders probably go through that experience where they lose touch with maybe the original team even, and layers are built upon layers. Could you expand on that? Like what sort of things you guys have managed to do to continue to grow that spirit within the business, even though I guess you don't know. I'd be very impressed if you tell me you know everybody's name.
I try to know everyone's name.
Wow. Okay.
It's actually a continual conversation. It's a really good start point. We had a massive, I'll just go in on the name thing for a minute because it's worth it. When we went through COVID, we actually went through a really big growth spurt. It was like COVID was very kind to Two Circles. I feel awful saying it because it obviously has awful consequence for others, but it really accelerated our growth even more than we had done before. And there were so many people we hadn't even met in person. It's very hard to start meeting people's name when you haven't been in person. And so we talked about it a lot. Leadership teams like, how are we going to learn everyone's names? And we agreed it was really important to try. And so we try. And so the worst case, if you don't know someone's name, you stop and you say, hi, I'm Gareth. I haven't had a chance to meet you. And so you don't walk past someone. And that's, so I guess the moral of that story is if for as long as you care about trying to know everyone's names, then you've got half a chance at building that relationship. And I think it's working brilliantly. And so, yeah, no, I'm past the point of knowing everyone's names. I'm past the point of interviewing everyone who came in the business. That was true for a long way, all the way through. But those things doesn't mean you stop caring. And if you don't stop caring and you're empowering others and actually having a great team means you can empower others, then actually you get a greater diversity of your spirit. And so one of the things I see in the business today is there's a very core set of principles about what our spirit is and how we talk about it. And we empower everyone then to make it better. And you get more diversity from that, both from broader geographies and broader skill sets, and just different groups of people coming together and deciding that how they want our business to be is different. And that's where it genuinely gets better. We were very cult-like in our early years. Like we were peak cult when we were about 30 or 40 people, which, you read all the books that say, yeah, that's the point where the village is at its strongest. I don't know if it's necessarily true. It's a certain type of there's a certain type of energy that comes from that type of group, and it was amazing to be part of. But it's amazing to be part of what we are now as well. And our village is greater than ever in so many ways. And I think the answer to the story is your spirit can get stronger as you scale if you always care about it. That's my overriding sense. The day you stop caring about it, the day you don't deserve to have a good spirit, and people will start turning their heads elsewhere and putting in less energy to the business and caring about each other. And fundamentally our spirit is about caring about each other, so we will always care.
Great tip. No, great tip for other founders. That's fantastic.